Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hello, friends. You found it. This is the finest Bible bistro on the internet, Daily Dose Radio. Come on in, sit down. We've got some fresh and delicious Bible study cooked up for you today. We're going to be looking today at verses 7, 8, and 9 in Psalm 17. Remember now, Psalm 17 is a prayer of David. David has been praying, and of course he starts out with the very word of prayer, "Hear, O Lord." So he wants the righteous Lord to hear his prayer. So we're kind of in the middle here of the prayer, and we've seen lots of good information about praying already. We're going to find some more out today. Notice verse 7. Let me read 7, 8, and 9 from my translation. Let your merciful right hand be wonderful to those that trust, from those who rise up against them. Keep me as the apple of thine eye. In the shadow of your wings, hide me from the face of the wicked which devastate me, my enemy who surrounds my soul. So here, again, right out in the open, you have these requests. This is very obvious. This is very raw. It's very real. This is David at his best when he's praying. And of course, if we can just imagine who his enemy is, well, we know he was running and hiding from Saul. And so anytime we have a prayer of David and complaints like this, we can kind of think that maybe it's either Saul or Absalom or that other fellow whose name I seem to always forget who rose up against David. Somebody from the tribe of Benjamin, and I can never remember his name. Anyway, so we have 7, 8, and 9. Notice, let your merciful right hand, and the hand of God is going to play a prominent role now through the rest of the psalm, through the rest of Psalm 17. We have it here in verse 7. We're going to see it several times, principally in the second half. So the wonderful right hand of the Lord is going to do wonderful. It's merciful. So God's mercy is going to be extended via his right hand. And that right hand is the hand that holds his sword. And that sword is going to do a work and is going to work on behalf of the psalmist. But notice that it's not just the psalmist, but it is those that trust. So he doesn't name himself, but of course we can just imagine that he places himself in that group. Why? Well, because he's praying to the Lord. So obviously he trusts in the Lord. This is not some religious exercise. You see, religious exercise happens whenever there's not a problem. But when there's a problem, then our true stripes are shown. And when there's a problem, the folks that aren't trusting the Lord, they don't pray. They go about trying to fix it themselves and finding some other solution. But those that trust, they pray. So we have a problem here. And the psalmist is saying to the Lord, hey, lift up your merciful right hand and do something for those that trust. And he, of course, is including himself in that, because right now that's his only recourse is the Lord. And it's the best recourse. It's the grandest recourse. It's the most wonderful and merciful and loving kind recourse. And so the psalmist goes there. From those who rise up against them. Now, the them is, of course, those that trust, and you can go back to Psalm 16. Just look at verse 1. He's talked about those that trust there in 16. So here we have one of those connections between the psalm that just happened prior to this. See how these psalms sort of play off one another. Keep me as the apple of thine eye. That is the daughter of the eye, the great love of the eye. And so this apple, and of course the word apple is used here, but it means that thing that's precious. So he's asking the Lord, not only show your merciful right hand, but allow me to remain precious in your sight and in the shadow of your wings. And then we have the verb here at the end of the sentence, hide me. So the verb hide is right here at the end of the sentence. And who are we hiding from? Well, we're going to find out in 9, because in 9 we're hiding from the face of the wicked that devastate me. So there's some wicked folks that are devastating the psalmist. In David's case, we know it could be Saul or Absalom or someone else. My enemy who surrounds my soul. Now, folks, there's a time and a place to pray like this, and we have it right here in Psalm 17. I hope this encourages your prayer life. Go boldly to the throne of grace in time of trouble and call on the Lord for help. Join me again tomorrow when we'll look at verses 10, 11, and 12 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.